Today is November 3rd, 2009, and we are interviewing Georgia Mahoney at Friendship Village in Schaumburg, Illinois. We are students at St. Hubert School. Mr. Mahoney.
May I say slower?
Oh.
Don't talk so fast.
We are students at St. Hubert School. Mr. Mahoney is 88 years old, having been born in 1922. My name is Brandon, and I will be the interviewer. This is Jacob, and he will be the assistant. And that is Joey. He will be our cameraman. Mr. Mahoney, could you state for the recording what war and branch of service you were in?
I was the combat engineers, Army engineers.
What was your highest rank?
PFC. Do you know what PFC means?
No.
Praying for civilianship.
That's not what it really means.
Where did you serve?
Private first class.
Okay. Where did you serve?
Where would I serve? The Pacific. Central and South Pacific.
Where were you drafted or did you
Yes,
enlist?
I was drafted.
How did you feel when you were drafted?
Huh?
How did you feel when you were drafted?
Well, you knew you were going to go somewhere, but how soon you did not know or where. That's all.
What was your boot camp experience like?
What was that?
Your boot camp experience. What was your boot camp experience like?
My experiences?
In
For
boot
boot
camp.
camp.
Boot camp? I did not have too much boot camp because I went to St. Mel's High School, which was known as a military school. So I did not have to go through boot camp.
What was your main job in the Army?
Main job? Bulldozer. It's a machine with the engineers. We made roads, but basically I operated a bulldozer, which cleared the path through the mountains and the jungles.
Okay. Where were you stationed?
I was stationed in the Hawaiian Islands. I was stationed on Maui, and the big island of Hawaii, and the island of Oahu, and on the island of Molokai. And then down in the Solomon Islands, I was on the island of New Ireland, New Britain, Guadalcanal, and Bougainville, working, putting roads in, not streets, roads. And then down in, well, I was in Korea, North and South Korea also. We were, being engineers, we were in demand all the time. So we worked a 14-hour day all the time.
What kinds of food did you eat during World War II?
K-rations.
Which?
K-rations consisted of some crackers, a chocolate candy bar, a little can of meat called Spam.
I've heard that before.
And we had it 365 days a year.
That sounds rather unpleasant.
Did you have any good luck charms?
And what?
Did you have any good luck charms?
Good luck charm? Yes, my rosary.
Were you injured at all during the war?
Was that what?
Were you injured at all during the war?
Were you injured during the war?
No, but I did collect malaria.
Yes.
Malaria is a sickness, a fever. It's spread by the Anopheles mosquito.
What does it do?
It knocks you out. It builds up on you until you get about 102 fever, and you just pass out.
Where did you travel during the war?
Pardon?
Where did you travel during the war?
Where did I travel?
Yes.
Oh, I did give you the number of the islands just now, but it was in the Hawaiian Islands, the Solomon Islands, and the Philippine Islands.
Did you see any kind of combat?
Yes.
Can you explain the combat?
Pardon?
Can you explain the combat?
Where was it?
Where was the combat? On every one of those islands I've just read to you. Those were combat islands. The medals are on here.
Did you stay in touch with your family during the war?
Did I go?
Stay in touch with your family during the war?
Did you stay in touch with your family during the war?
Yes, we did, through email. Email, it was, you write out your letter on a piece of paper, then it's photographed and shrunk down onto a film, so hundreds of letters could be on a film, and the plane would take it back to the United States. Then the V-mail, V meant victory, the V-mail was put onto a film, onto a screen, and reprinted on a larger piece of paper.
How did you entertain yourself during the war?
I don't know,
Entertain yourself during the war?
working. And there was sometimes, what did they call them? Shows that came overseas to entertain the troops. We didn't have much of that because we were too busy.
Was that from the USO?
The USO, well, there was a few times, I think 3 times in the 3 years that I was over there, but we were too primitive. Where we lived, it was almost too primitive to have the actors from Hollywood and the radio stations to come in. Some did, but we were active on our own.
Did you get any kind of leave? Did you get any kind of leave?
Did you get any leave during your service?
No, I did not get any leaves at all.
No, leave when you get to...
Yes.
Leaves,
Oh.
like a furlough.
Yes.
No, I did not get a furlough.
How old were you when the war ended?
That's a good question. That is a very good question. The war lasted 3 years, I think. So if I went in at 19, I was 22 to 23 years old when I got out of service, and the war ended while I was still in service. In fact, the war ended when we were on assault boats going in to invade the capital island of Japan early in the morning when Hirohito announced a surrender to the United States government, and then they put it on the radio.
What did you do after the war?
Looked for a job, signed up to go to school, and looked up my fiance and got married.
What career did you go on to do after the war?
Pardon me?
What career did you go on to do after the war?
What career did you have? Career. What was your job?
Oh, what was it, my job? I went for, worked for a place, a company called Horowitz. It was air conditioning. We worked putting in air conditioning. One of the buildings I worked on was the merchandise Mark.
What did you do when you heard the news that the war was over?
I can't say what I did, but I know I was happy it was over with.
Where were you when the war was over?
Where? Say it again, please.
Where were you when the war was over?
Where was I when the war was over? Well, the war was over when they announced the surrender of Japan. And where was I? I was in Yokohama Harbor with the Navy. We were invading Japan.
Did you receive any special kind of medals?
Did I get any kind of special kind of medals? Well,
Oh.
there they are there. Arrowheads, campaign ribbons, battle medals.
Did you attend any kind of reunions?
Pardon me?
Did you attend any kind of reunions?
Say that please, slow though.
Did you attend any kind of reunions?
No, we didn't have a reunion because the division, the 40th Infantry Division, was composed of 2 National Guard outfits, Utah National Guards and the California National Guards. I lived in Chicago.
How did your service and experience in the war affect your life?
It gave me memories. It gave me a lot of things to be thankful for. And I was just thankful to God that I pulled through with no real troubles except the malaria.
Did your experiences change your opinion on war? Did your experiences change your opinion on war?
No, it did not.
Is there anything you would like to add to this interview that we have not covered?
Well, I just hope we don't have any more wars. And because the way science has advanced, it might make another war the end of this world that we know. Because of the atomic bomb today, I think they even made it worse than it used to be.
That's it.
He actually has a pretty famous story that's really interesting. It only takes about 2 minutes for him to say.
Okay,
You might want to keep on. And what you could ask him is, did you meet anybody famous, any famous military people? Did you meet anybody famous during the war? You could ask me that. You could ask me.
Did you meet anybody famous during the war?
The beach one.
Well, I was not introduced to him because he was a general. I met him, but I was at the distance of about 30 feet from him all the time. And he stepped off an assault boat because he did say back when they left the islands of the Philippines that he would return to the Philippines. And as he stepped off the assault boat, I seen him, and it was General Douglas MacArthur. I didn't meet him personally, but I was within 30 feet of him. And if I wasn't there, he would have had wet feet getting off that boat.
Can you tell us why?
That was General Douglas MacArthur.
Can you tell us a story about why you would have got wet feet and what you did? The story that you told me.
Oh, well,
It only takes a minute. Short.
it was an assault boat. If you don't know what an assault boat is, it's a boat that holds about 15 to 22 soldiers. It's used to run up onto a beach, and the front door drops down, and the soldiers run off.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
That's how they land. Well, this boat came in, this boat came in, and it got onto the sand of the beach, but it couldn't get far enough up. The waves were coming in, so it couldn't get far enough onto dry sand. So the soldier on board that assault boat didn't step out, and the coxswain of that boat waved to me, and we were working there on the beach. He waved to me to see what I could do to help him. Well, we had a weapons carrier there with a winch on the front of it. So I walked over to the winch, over the weapons carrier, got the winch and walked back to the assault boat, hooked it on the front. I signaled the driver of the weapons carrier to pull in on the winch. He did, and the assault boat got up on dry sand. Then the gentleman that was on board stepped out, and it was General MacArthur. Dressed up, just as shiny, spick and span. That's how he looked. But then again, remember, he was the commander-in-chief of all Allied forces in the Pacific. That's the way he had to look. That's how he did look. Okay, boys? Here's
Boys,
the-
do you want to see some of this?
Here, you can take a look at that.
Yeah, so you can see some of this. Come around.
Can you hold it for the camera too?
Hold it up for the camera.
Hold it up.
Can you explain this?
These pictures, they have an index. As you turn the pages, the number there tells you what and where that picture is all about. Okay?
Where did this come from?
Hmm?
Where did this Japanese flag come from?
That came from Korea, North Korea. There was a military school there that the Korean army used, and the Japanese took it over. When we went in there, they were blowing things up, and I seen that, I went and took it. That was my souvenir.
What do all the signatures mean? What do all the signatures mean?
Slower.
What do all the signatures mean on the flag?
These are men that served with me in the Army. They were all in my squad and my platoon.
Should we look at the book?
We all got,
I'm sorry.
The book? Should we come over?
Yeah, you guys can come over and everybody can look at the book together so we don't handle it too many times.
Should I just open it?
go ahead. If you want to take it here or there, wherever, where all you all can see it. Now, the number of the picture, see it here? In the index, the number.
It's 100. En route to the Hawaiian Islands, August 1942, the saluters were all brand new to the division, having been introduced to 2 weeks or less. They have found themselves on the way overseas.
Now, it's going to take them a couple of hours to go through that.
Well, we don't have to go picture by picture, they just look at.
Yeah, that's okay, whatever you, I'm just an observer. I'm just watching, you guys, whatever you guys do.
Should I read them?
No,
You can turn them,
don't handle the phone yet, turn it by the picture.
now, some of those earlier pictures were taken in the Hawaiian Islands when we first got there. They were expecting the Japanese to come back again. That's why they're practicing a lot of this first aid stuff.
Okay.
If you want to know what that is, you'd have to look it up in the index.
Are any of these pictures about you? Are any of these pictures?
I'm in a few of those pictures, but you never would recognize me. I was there when almost all those pictures were taken. The man, that's another story. The man that I was with is a very intelligent boy. He was a prisoner of war by Germany. And he joined our outfit, or was recruited into our outfit. He didn't do anything about it. He was shuffled around. First of all, he was French. He was about my size. We worked together because of our size, not because of our mentality. He was far, far beyond me. He could learn languages like nobody's business. He was born in France. German army took over France. He became then part of the German army He learned German then. They took over, the German army took over Poland. He was taken with them, he learned the Polish language. Then Russia and Germany hit. The Russians captured him, he learned Russian.
Wow.
Then we got into the war. I think it was Montgomery outfit. He was with them, and the American Army went overseas there to England and then to France. He got put into the American Army. He learned the English language then.
So he was working with the bad guys first.
He was a miracle man. Well, it turned out, I did not know it. The 3 years we were together, I did not know it. But the Army knew his qualities. They made him, in my terms, not the government terms. I have put 2 and 2 together. He was the official, he had a camera and he always had film. I never seen him taking these pictures because he was always off to the back of me. I didn't see him, but I remember the pictures. So I know I was there. How could I be there, so often? It turns out I get this book after the war is over with. I get a letter if I would want this book. And I said, yeah. I did not know what it was. But when I get it, I get these pictures and I put 2 and 2 together. He was the official photographer for our battalion and division. 5 languages that he's picked up.
Wow.
And I forgot his name. But he was my size, so we worked together. And go ahead.
I'm fine, I'm done.
You want to get these pictures?
I'll get some of that, I can do that after you're done.
Was he with you the whole time?
Well, I was in the engineers, as I said before. Company being the 115th Engineers. We did a lot of work, bridges and road work. That was our main job. And you get a stringer, you know what a stringer is?
No.
Oh, it's a heavy piece of wood that they use in building bridges. Generally, it's a 12 by 6, and it can be 12 to 15 feet long. And I was with a man I know his name, Kulikowskis, from New York State. And he was assigned to work with me. He was 6'3". I'm 5'6". We picked up one of those heavy timbers. The weight was on my shoulders because it was up. So that went along good for about 1.5 years, and then I joined in with him. I asked him if I could work with him. I did not know this was his real assignment. How ignorant you can be and not know it.
There was a lot going on, an awful lot going on.
You know, I think your pin is a little bit, let me just fix that on your hat there.
Take it.
No, I want to leave it there because I want to get a picture with you with your hat on. You can leave it on.
Oh,
Yeah, it just-
oh, I see what you mean.
You can take a look, I can take a look at it.
Somebody's got, I have carpal tunnel. And,
There you go.
oh, thank you.
Very good.
No souvenir.
Whatever you guys are doing is fine. If you go 2 minutes or a half, whatever.
Okay.
I joined this post when I got out of service, and at the time I was quartermaster for it. That's Park Ridge 3579.
Yeah.
Why, it was the largest VFW post in the state of Illinois. 500 members.
You're pretty good.
Is there any more questions you boys like to pop at me?
Do you have anything else?
Are these assault boats?
Two, three, 4. That's a beach landing. These are assault boats coming in. Bringing troops ashore. You can look at an index, 2, 3, 4. What island, I'll tell you too.
Landing craft beached by the heavy seas.
Speak up.
landing craft beached by the heavy seas.
All right.
Heavy seas.
It doesn't say exactly where.
How does it, what island? These, I know, they're prisoners of war they were left on the island, and the natives took care of them. They lived with the natives until we got there. There was a lot of, I shan't say a lot, there were many Army there. I can't figure out what was going on. It was beep, 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 something was wrong. There was many soldiers that came up to us out of the jungle. And they'd stay back until we recognized them. And then they'd holler to us, Americans, Americans. Well, they were prisoners of war from the American Army before 1941. Their uniform was different. Their rifles were different. We were different. The only thing we had in common was our language. And they wouldn't get too close to us. But when they did hear the language, then they, hey, Americans, Americans. When we tell them, come on out, come on out. Because we can't trust everybody. Because we still had Germany that was fighting against us over the other side of the world. But Japan was an ally of Germany. So we had to be careful all the way down the line. But we had many American soldiers come up and greet us after they found out we were American soldiers. And it was thrilling. It was thrilling. Every time we got a hold of an American soldier, or even a Filipino soldier, even the Filipino soldiers did not know we were American soldiers, because we changed. The uniforms and rifles, trucks were different. You can hardly believe that, but it's the truth that they changed.
Where did you encounter most of the American?
Excuse-
Where did you encounter most of the older American soldiers?
What did we do? Well, there's still pictures there. They were immediately interviewed.
But on what island were they?
There was a few on New Britain, not New Britain. Yeah, no, not New Britain. Luzon, and Luzon and Panay. Those two islands there.
Mr. Mahoney. It says right here, Miss Mahoney. Is that you? It says Mahoney, and that points to
Yeah.
that person.
Yeah, that was me.
I see it.
I don't know who put that there.
Which one's that one?
Well, it's
On the background there?
Mhm.
Is that something, is that a dead Bruce soldier? I can't take a picture of that now.
You don't want those kind of pictures. I gotta tack those down.
There's a picture from
They kept very well. It's amazing how much good photography they did, considering that they were using film and had to get it processed and just all the more difficult. Oh, is that MacArthur? Is that the beach landing?
Wait, 2 million.
Yeah, that's the general going home.
That wasn't when he landed on the beach, though. No.
No, that's the,
But that's him, though, right?
that's the,
Yeah.
Lieutenant General Eichel Berger, General MacArthur, Major General Bush, and Colonel Littloni talk over the situation in Negros.
No, you don't.
Click, click. Ed,